So,
love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Apparently, an airplane vanished today. Did you hear about that, Daniel?
I heard mention of it. I don't know anything about it besides that people are missing.
Yeah.
I don't. Did it crash or people? I
don't know if they ever actually
fill me
found
in.
it.
I don't know.
No one really knows yet, but Ben,
probably crashed.
It's a clip.
Yeah.
Do we have a clip?
Yeah. I have two clips.
Either that or they were abducted by aliens. That's the other theory.
That makes more sense.
I wish that was the case. That'd be cool.
Well, not for them.
No.
It depends on what they're doing to them.
Depends on what aliens you get.
There's evidence
the South Park
of
aliens.
There's evidence of foul
That's pretty
play,
awesome.
for sure.
Foul play.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's listen.
More than 24 hours after Malaysian Airlines flight MH370 disappeared from radar screens and lost all contact, there are still no answers as to what may have happened on board, where that aircraft may have gone down. But as they continue the search, nothing is being ruled out. The CEO of Malaysia Airlines.
We seem to be living by speculation now. So I think let's leave the authorities to do its work.
So can we say that you're ruling out any possibility of terrorism?
We're not ruling out anything.
Vietnamese search and rescue crews say they spotted two.
So, like, basically they don't know shit.
Yeah.
But that's shocking because I would think that if don't airplanes have like a certain trail that they follow, like a certain pathways, and if it did crash, it would probably crash within that area. You would think.
Yeah, I mean, all air traffic. I mean, I guess not all, but a lot of it, especially.
It could have been. I mean, it could have been hijacked and diverted, and we don't even know.
Well,
that's true too.
They found out that two of the passengers were there on false identities.
Oh my.
Yeah. That will be revealed later.
Large oil slicks between 6 and 9 miles or up to 14 kilometers long, some 90 miles or 145 kilometers south of To Chu Island. Now, the members of those Vietnamese air crews said that they suspected those could have come from the jetliner, but there's no confirmation of that. At first light, it is expected that more surface ships as well as aircraft will be out in that specific area looking for any evidence that they may be able to find. Now, this is a crash that stretches right across international borders. It affects some 14 nationalities, but more than half of the 239 passengers and crew who were aboard flight MH370 are said to have been Chinese nationals. They included a group of distinguished artists, calligraphers who had come here to Kuala Lumpur and were returning to Beijing. It included elderly tourists. As the search continues, as questions are continuing to be asked, the people whose family members, whose loved ones were aboard that aircraft are being sequestered here at Kuala Lumpur International Airport by authorities away from the media. They are obviously...
I've never liked air travel too much.
Yeah.
I've always like
awaiting any word on the...
Shit.
What?
I don't know. Anyway.
Fucking goddamn shit.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, yeah, it's pretty fucked up situation.
One of my first videos was about Skeletor hijacking an airline and, you know, taking over the plane.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so I wonder if that's what actually happened in this instance. Probably not.
Was Beastman there?
You'll never defeat me, He-Man!
I'm looking more into this. They said there's no distress signal or signs of bad weather, and they said that they had some guy, I think, where was that at? Let me look for it.
Maybe it was. My guess is hijacked or something now.
They said because there's no distress call, it's pretty unlikely. There's probably like a sudden catastrophic event that occurred that probably just like rendered them unable to even communicate with anyone. Because if it was hijacked, almost certainly we would have heard something from somebody.
I don't know, because there's no data to go off of, so it's kind of like hard to even speculate what happened.
Yeah, this was going from Malaysia to China.
That's a pretty big distance.
Yeah, I mean it's decent. Here's a little bit more about it. And this is about the connection between stolen passports and passengers on the flight.
It's on the missing Malaysia Airlines flight. The Boeing 777 with 239 people on board went missing yesterday, falling off radar screens less than an hour into the flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. Vietnam's Air Force finding 2 oil slicks near its southern coast where the plane was last heard from, but no sign of wreckage, leaving families of the missing waiting for word on their loved ones with little hope. Malaysia Airlines CEO saying no distress signal was sent, indicating whatever the cause, it was probably quick and catastrophic. And now there's word that 2 passports used to board that flight were stolen, and the people listed on those passports.
I wonder if it could have been like one of those cases of someone like sneaking a bomb on the plane or something.
Yeah.
Because I know that was something that has been tried in America in the past.
Hey, TJ, this is something interesting. They said this guy, John Gogley, a former board member of the National Transportation Safety Board, the U.S. agency that investigates plane crashes, said a lack of a distress call suggested the plane was either experienced an explosive decompression or was destroyed by an explosive device.
Yeah, so that works with my bomb theory. I wonder what would cause maybe. I wonder if someone just opened the door because
Like you see in the movies, and they all get sucked out.
I was like, hey, what if we just open this door? Maybe someone just did. They're just like, fuck this! Ah!
Yeah.
So it is a possibility that someone did blow up the plane.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, for sure.
They found oil. There's a pretty good chance. And
Who just blows up a random plane?
I don't know. You'd think that they'd have some sort of message that they were trying to send.
it'd be like, we take credit for this thing and we did it for this reason, so you just stop the injustice.
As far as I know, that hasn't happened yet, but it may. This is still pretty new here. Here's a little bit more from the clip.
Were not on the plane. Dominic DiNatale is live in our West Coast newsroom with more. Dom?
Hey there, Arthel. Well, Malaysia Airlines has issued the manifest of who was listed on the plane. This is it here. It describes 3 U.S. citizens, including one man, 51-year-old Philip Wood, who we understand is from Texas. On Facebook, a woman claiming to be his former wife described Philip Wood as a wonderful man and says that although we are no longer married, he is still family. His sons and I just want peace and quiet right now. This is my statement, and they asked for the media to leave them alone, as it seems to be they've been swamped by requests from media for interviews. 2 other U.S. citizens named as Nicole Meng, aged 4, and also Yan Zheng, aged 2.
The media are some serious vultures, aren't they?
For sure.
Of course.
And I love how they're like, and hey, let's talk about how many Americans died. There's like 3 Americans on a flight of like 230.
Pretty much every country
people.
does that, though. If there's one Canadian on the flight, there'll be like a Canadian person was killed. With one person from New Zealand, there's one New Zealander killed.
Yeah.
People are people. Simple.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's like an exclusive to America thing. I just think it's a funny thing that human beings do. Like, hey, some people who are more like us are dead. So, this could be you.
Yeah, you have a little more in common with these Americans that died than the Asian people that died on the plane.
Yeah, even though that might even not necessarily be true. You might fucking think those Americans were dicks if you met them.
Yeah, exactly.
And that one of those Asian people might be like your best friend if you actually got to know them. So,
Exactly.
I mean, it's just like, hey,
they're assuming too much.
This is your same nationality, so instantly identify more with this.
Yeah.
And but I mean, it's funny how they'll just. They don't care, like, hey, your loved one just died, but it's kind of an interesting story, so, like, we want to fucking get your word on this.
We want to hound you and ask you for a comment.
Yeah. Do you have a comment on the death of your loved one?
I'm sad.
I don't even see how that actually contributes to the news.
Yeah,
the
their
news.
loved ones are sad.
The news,
Thanks for the update.
Since we've been doing this show, we've been doing it for, like 2.5 months?
Yeah.
Something like that.
The news is just bullshit now.
It is.
It is just utter bullshit just to fill, 24 hours of TV. It's just
Oh yeah,
stupid
I don't
shit.
even have cable because I can't deal to watch the news, any news for that matter, because it's so bullshit, and the things that how they report stuff it angers me, and I don't want to wake up to reading the news or seeing news.
That's why we basically just filter all the news
Yeah.
through our perspective.
Yeah, so when people want to listen to the news, they can just listen to us talk about it.
Yeah, they can listen to us making fun of how stupid
instead of watching
it
the
is,
real news.
because that would be horrible.
But we are not the real news at all.
No,
you
we're
know.
better than the
Yeah.
real news.
Better than the
We
real
speak the truth.
news.
That's our new slogan.
Drunken Peasants.
Drunken Peasants, better than the real news.
Yeah, so on that note, here's more of the news.
Identify
The
here on the
news.
manifest. The Malaysian authorities
A
say they
plane
have been working
crashed.
with the United States to
What
confirm the
happened?
IDs
No one knows.
of these 3 Americans, just to ensure that
Three
they
of them were
genuinely
American.
on the flight.
Care more about them.
The mayor's dog had puppies. There was a plane crash.
Maybe it was snakes on the planes. Those motherfucking snakes.
Yeah,
That's probably what happened.
yeah. So,
It's too bad Samuel L. wasn't on the flight, because then he could have
Motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane.
Yeah.
So I think we got the gist of that.
Yeah,
So
man.
Basically, what we know right now is that the plane vanished, and 2 of the people on the plane
It
were
didn't-
in there on stolen passports.
When they say it vanished, that makes it sound like it literally just disappeared.
It vanished from, air traffic control.
It
and-
crashed. I mean,
Yeah.
it's fucking gone. It's not like they're like, hey, we found it. It turned out it just diverted to New Jersey. Now it's fine.
Yeah, everyone's fine. They're drinking hot cocoa.